Hi everyone, we're back. Okay, as promised, we're doing it today, the webinar with Mallory. Okay, so basically, we're going to do a quick introduction first, and then we're going to move ahead and introduce Mallory, and then you guys can also kind of share with us if you have any questions and things like that. So a little bit about the webinar today. So some of you probably already know that our platform, Creative Women's Co., is a series of intimate gatherings for creative women like yourself who want to connect with each other on a personal level, learn together, and spark collaboration. Now, all of the webinars are actually sponsored by Cicalofia. It's my company, a full-service design studio for maximum brand impact on web, mobile, as well as print. You can check us out more on cklph.com. And I am Ari, as some of you probably already know, and I'm the creative director and chief designer of Cicalofia. I'm also the founder of Creative Women's Co. and your host for this webinar. So for today's webinar, I have Malorie Calhoun. Did I pronounce your name right? Yes?
Calhoun,
okay.
Yes.
Calhoun, okay. Fantastic. So Malorie is a brand strategist and graphic designer of Always on Brand, who will be guiding us on the topic of this month, figuring out your target market. So Malorie, tell us more about you before we start the webinar.
Okay. Hi, everybody. Like Ari said, my name is Mallory. I have a background in design. I've worked as a graphic designer for almost 10 years. I have a bachelor's degree in design as well. Currently working on my MBA in marketing. Kind of figured out over some trial and error that my passion really lied in the strategy versus the design. So I decided to kind of relaunch my business and go in the strategy route. I'm also a mom. I have a little 2-year-old at home, so she keeps me busy. And that's pretty much everything that is going on in my life right now.
Awesome. I actually have a 2-year-old boy as well, so I can feel your joy / pain, maybe. Because sometimes you're just like running around like crazy, and it's like, okay, stop. I know you're in a like explorer mode or something. It's like, you gotta stop. Yeah. But anyway, so for everyone who's actually watching us right now, just gonna take some time. Let us know where you are in the world. I know we have some of the people in Chicago, some of them in Seattle, some of them in Florida, and things like it. Let us know in the comment where you are, so at least we can sort of see what's who's where and things like that. And even if you want, also drop in your Instagram link so we can follow you right after the webinar. And for questions, if you have any questions, hi Sharon, I know Sharon. If you have any questions at all while Mallory is presenting, feel free to just kind of like ask the questions anyway, because I will be collecting all of the questions and moderate them for Mallory. So keep them coming so I can actually get more questions for her. And what else do I have? I think that's pretty much it. The worksheet for this webinar, I will also send that over to you guys on the link while Mallory will be presenting. So you can check that one as well. Other than that, I think we're all good, and I will hand off everything to Mallory now, so you can take it away.
Okay. So as I said earlier when we kind of did the preview, I'm going to talk to you guys a little bit about your target market. There's a lot of talk about identifying your ideal client or your target market. They're kind of used interchangeably. And a lot of people, I don't think, understand where that falls into your brand and your brand strategy. So why is identifying your target market so important? Well, if you don't know who you're going to sell to, how are you going to sell it, right? You want to think smarter, not harder. So essentially, a lot of people think, well, if I just use everybody as my target market, then I'll eventually get some sales. But if you actually narrow it down, you're more likely to get more sales the narrower your market is than if you have this huge target market. So for instance, if you have a $200 product and you pitch it to a group of 1,000 people, and all of those 1,000 people have a $50 budget, you're not going to get very many sales on your $200 product. But if you pitch that product in a group of 50 people with a $500 budget, you're going to be a lot more likely to get the sales that you that you're looking for. You will get more sales out of the 50 people than you will out of the 1,000 people. So that's kind of why it's so important to do this work. And this is one of the first steps you really need to do in your brand work. This doesn't mean that these are the only clients that you're going to get. It just means that these are the clients that you're targeting, and you want to make sure that you're getting in front of your ideal client so you can get them. If you're not getting in front of them, they're not going to find you. You can have different target markets for different products, different services. It's okay to have more than one, and this process will work with any service, any product, anything really that you are selling. So it doesn't have to be one market for your entire business. For example, photographers can have a very wide range of services that they offer. A wedding photographer and somebody who does, executive headshots are going to be very different markets, but they can be within the same company. You just have to figure out how to target the two. And your ideal client will change, and it'll grow as your business grows and as you change and everything else. So we're going to jump right into how to do this. The first thing you want to do, I kind of break this into who, where, and how. The first thing is, who is your ideal client? You want to get as specific as possible. You hear people talking about these ideal client avatars that have names. And essentially that's what you want to do. You want to give your client a name. Think about a client that you worked with that you loved working with. Why did you love working with them? Did you enjoy their personality? Did you enjoy, what made you get along with them so well? Describe them down to the clothes that they wear, the color of their nail polish. Literally get as specific as possible. End up giving them a name. There's no right answer. It's ultimately what you feel and what you want as your ideal client. So there's no right answer. Nobody's going to see this. You can get as outlandish as possible. I think that a lot of entrepreneurs feel slightly embarrassed or like there's a right answer and that they have to do this the right way and they have to do it a certain way. There's no right answer to this. It is who you want it to be. So don't feel like you're going to be judged on this. Do what is best for you and your company. The who is pretty easy to figure out. You know who you work well with. The where and the how are generally the hardest part of figuring out your target market. Where do they hang out? How do you get in front of them? Your ideal client is not going to find you. It's your responsibility to find them and get in front of them. So how do you do this? You have to figure out where they are. You have to, are they in Facebook groups? Are they on Instagram, Twitter, LinkedIn? Places that, it doesn't all have to be social media. Where do they go? Where are they in the community? Find networking events. Any opportunity you can to get in front of these people, you should be taking advantage of. Referrals are great too. Find what other interests they have. Get in front of them that way. Guest blog posts, things along those lines. The biggest struggle, I kind of breeze over the who and the where because those are relatively easy, I think. Like, you can figure out where your ideal client hangs out because you know who they are. The how is the hardest part for people. How do I get in front of them? How do I make them interested in what I'm offering? That's the most difficult part because we suffer from so much information thrown at us on a daily basis that if we don't stand out within the crowd, nobody's going to listen to us. So how do you stand out? It's not easy. You have to figure out what your client is struggling with. What problem do you solve for them? So for example, if you are a brand strategist, okay, I'm just using myself as an example. I solve the problem that my clients don't really understand their business identity. They don't understand what their values, their visuals, all of that. That's the problem that I solve. So how do I target my ideal client by telling them that I solve this? Believe it or not, you will get more likes, more clicks, more everything if you actually advertise the problem versus the solution. So advertise the issue that you are solving. You want to be able to relate to them. You want them to be able to relate to you. You want to be real. Ultimately, it's not going to be, you're not going to be able to pitch to them and get thousands of dollars in sales. Marketing doesn't work like that anymore. It used to, but now the consumer wants to know who they're buying from. They want to know that there's a person there. They want to know that they're cared about. They want to know that this person has experienced these problems, that they actually are an expert, that they know everything that they're talking about. So webinars, great example of establishing yourself as an expert in your field. You want to build, and I'm sure some of you have heard this, the know, like, and trust factor within your ideal client. So you know who they are, right? You know where they are. Now you just have to figure out how to get them to see you. So in marketing, you have a funnel. And you start at the top of the funnel, which looks like this. So the top is up here. And you work your way down. And you don't start selling until you get to the bottom of the funnel. The top of the funnel is where you establish the know, like, and trust, which is where you want to, A, establish yourself as an expert. B, you want to build a relationship with these people. You don't want them to see you as some sleazy salesman who just wants to make money. And you want to give stuff away. You want people to respect you. You want to, like I keep saying, relationship. It's all about the relationship. So, essentially, what you're doing is fostering a relationship. It takes time. It's not going to happen overnight. So how do you do this? There are so many people who are advertising, making $10,000 in 60 days, or, how I went from $0 to making 6 figures in a year. And ultimately that's really hard to do because this takes time. You have to be able to get these people where you want them to be. So how do you do that? Give away free stuff. Like I said, don't be afraid of giving it all away. It's okay to give it all away for free. And you're probably sitting there wondering how that would work. Like, if you're giving it away, then how are people going to hire you? People will realize that you provide a value that they're not willing to do themselves. People will realize why you are paid to do what you do. And the ones who don't are probably not the people you want to work with. And it establishes yourself as an expert, that you know these things, especially when they do what you tell them to do and it works. So even if they don't hire you, they'll say to their friends, oh my God, you should talk to this person, because she really knows what she's talking about. So it's not, I'm reading my notes, sorry. It's not difficult when you break it down into where you can do these things. We all have those people that we fangirl about in our industry that we just absolutely love. And if we could get in touch with them, we would. And every single person that I talk to who says, well, I love so-and-so, I'm like, so why don't you contact them and ask if you can guest blog? And they're like, well, they wouldn't do that for me. And you don't know until you ask. And one of the biggest ways that you can establish yourself as an expert is to get other influencers to let you guest blog post or endorse you or do something that shows that you know what you're talking about. So what you need to figure out, again, is what problem you solve for your clients. Ultimately, what in marketing we call them their pain points. What are your clients' pain points? What keeps them up at night? Like, oh, if only I could fix this. That's what you want to do, because you have seconds to get their attention with the amount of information that is thrown at us on a daily basis between our email inbox, Facebook ads, banner ads, and everything else. You literally have seconds. And then once they click, you have seconds again. So reading my notes again. So figure out what your target audience is looking for, what they want, what their pain points are. You can do this even just by looking in Facebook groups and seeing what people are asking and doing a blog post about this question that you keep seeing come up. For instance, I keep seeing people asking about marketing courses. Courses seem to be a big thing right now. So I could, do a blog post about how to market for a course, because ultimately, there are a few different things that you can do for different products or services. You can also appeal to an emotion, which is a big one for women, especially if your target audience is women. If something makes us cry or makes us laugh or something, we're a lot more likely to engage with the brand. Think about Dove, for example. Their marketing is all about loving your body, which most women on an emotional level can relate to. Most women have had some sort of body image issues within their life. And so those types of ads where we really relate to the brand can help. You don't have to reinvent the wheel. A lot of people think that they have to do things differently than other people, or they have to, write custom blog posts every week. You can share things that other people have written, but the ultimate process is the same. Don't try and change the process when you know that it works. So, for example, and I have to laugh because this is where I was listening to Pandora with my daughter this morning, and we were listening to Toddler Radio, and so we're dancing and whatnot. All of a sudden, this ad comes on, and it's for some drug rehabilitation thing for people who have opioid dependence. And I'm sitting there going, this is on Toddler Radio. Like, their target audience seemed off. That's not the right way to do it. Don't target, toddlers with opioid dependence. It just doesn't work. So ultimately, I know I have an hour, but this is a pretty simple process. I see a lot of people avoid doing this work because it can be daunting, it can be exhausting, and it's not always an easy process to figure out. And ultimately, you're going to end up coming back and asking, well, why isn't my advertising working for me? And it's going to be because you don't know who your target market is. You don't know who your ideal client is. You don't know how to get in front of them, or you have the wrong ideal client. It is a lot of work, but if you do it the right way the first time, you won't have to come back to that. So make sure that this is done initially. And this is one of the first steps in building your brand, because your brand needs to attract your ideal client. Your brand needs to be part you, and your brand needs to be your business. So it's a three-part, there's three parts to your brand. And the big thing is your ideal client. So with that said, I'm going to take some questions if there are any.
Cool. All right. You know what? I was looking at the worksheet that you share with us, which, by the way, guys, I will give the link again. Give me 1 second just to kind of share this with you. So Malorie has prepared an awesome worksheet for this webinar. You can take a look and download it on that link. I look over it and I was like, this is pretty detailed. And I was like, this is awesome. So I'll personally going to do it because I know we are still kind of trying to develop some of our persona, because we did kind of like a rebrand a couple months ago, and trying to really refocus on who is exactly our target audience, right? Because once you get into the business, you kind of know, and then it's often change, and you can always do that in your business because your own goals might change, your business values and stuff like that will change, and adapt to it. That's the only way you can actually realize that you need to make sure that everything is aligned with your business, to the ins and the outs. So I do have a couple questions for you. If anybody else wants to have any questions being answered here by Malorie, please kind of like just leave the comment and I will moderate them for her. So some of my questions, let's start with the number one. Once you figure out the target audience, that is, how do you stop yourself from working with other audience who technically are not or is not in your target audience realm or something?
Well, there's nothing that says that you can't work with people that are outside of your target audience. That's ultimately something that you as an entrepreneur have to decide, when people come to you. You can usually tell based on their answers to, I have kind of a workflow where I ask my clients certain questions when they first inquire with me, and I base whether they're my ideal client or not on the answers to those questions. So you can kind of see where they are. I also have a network of people that if I feel like they're not going to be a good fit for me, I can refer, and I'll say to them, I don't know that we're the best fit, but here's somebody who I think you'll work better with.
Gotcha.
Because there's, but again, there's nothing that says that you can't work with them. You just have to be prepared that they might be a little bit more difficult for you because they're not your ideal client.
That's true. Okay, moving on to the second question that I have. You talked briefly about creating a relationship, right, Malorie? So what are some of the tips that you can give for us to start creating that relationship? Do you go to the same networking events over and over, or do you collaborate with certain type of people to create that relationship? What do you do?
So there's a few different ways that you can do it, and a lot of it's going to be based on where your audience is. You can go to networking events if you like the in-person thing. You can go to, places where your target audience is going to be over and over again.
Yeah.
You can go, blogs are a big way to establish yourself, not only as an expert, but it's also a way to build a relationship. So you kind of get both aspects of that. But the thing with a blog on your own page is that you have to have the audience. So if people aren't going to your page, they're not going to see it. So yes, blog posting is a great way to get some of that because you get the audience of the person that you're guest posting for. Facebook Live and webinars, those kind of things are great because people can see your face, and seeing your face immediately creates more of a relationship than just seeing text or an image on a page. People like to be able to interact. I have a list. Those are like my biggest tips, I think, for building a relationship. The biggest thing is providing some sort of value that your client sees also. So you want to establish yourself as an expert while you build this relationship.
That's true.
Side by side.
Yeah, and I like that you actually provide a couple of different tips, because not everyone is comfortable like doing this, right? The Facebook Live, like being on stage or pretty much presenting in front of people. So alternatively, they can do like the guest post that you mentioned earlier, because technically people don't have to see your face. You can like add your pictures, but that's pretty much it. My last question is actually, how important do you think creating the brand persona, or pretty much figuring out your target audience exercise that you already mentioned, how important do you think that is for people's brand or our own brand? And at what stage do we feel that we should prepare for it? Do we prepare before you establish or develop your own brand with your designers or the creative agency, or can it be done after that? What's your opinion on that?
With my clients, the first thing I do is the ideal client work.
Okay.
And it should be done first before you go to a designer, before you go to any creative agency, because you could get a design and then realize that it's not something that your target market is going to like or be attracted.
Yeah.
So it should be one of the first things that you do as far as your ideal client. And like you said, it could change. You can come back and revisit it, in 6 months, in a year, when things change, or if your business goes a different direction, that's okay. But you want to have, a guideline to go by before you go to a designer or start building your brand at all.
Yeah, and I think a lot of us, all the peeps in the creative or brand / design industry, will always ask everyone or the clients, like, okay, do you have like a brief on this? Like, do you know what your brand persona is? Or at least like a couple of questions that will really impact how the brand will look like and how the visual would look like. So I think having it at the very beginning, before you even reach out to those people, is I would say like the very perfect moment, right?
Yes.
Cool.
I think definitely doing it beforehand or in conjunction with the designer,
Yeah.
It's hard to find some designers that really, understand the ideal client and the marketing that goes behind it.
Yeah.
So I come from both backgrounds, so it's kind of, I think that's where I'm unique, because I can kind of blend the two.
You're a mix of both of it.
I am. I'm like creative with a little bit of strategy mixed in.
That's so cool. Okay, so I'm going to give about maybe a minute to let everyone else throw in any questions. While we wait, actually, I do want to kind of invite everyone, if you have any other topic that you want to for us to cover on the next webinar and things like that, let us know by posting it on our Facebook group. Or if you feel like you are interested and you are comfortable doing this, like what Malorie did, join us as the guest speaker on our next webinar, or the one that we'll be planning ahead. Feel free to apply on our webinar on our website. I will post the link right after this. Actually, I will do it right now. And I would love to have you guys. I think it will be wonderful to just have everyone share what they're an expert in, or what knowledge you guys want to share with the group, because I feel like as a group, I do kind of want everybody to just kind of learn from each other, because I feel like everyone has something that they can teach. Like even if they're just like a very small thing, I feel like you will not believe that you have something that you can share with other people. There's always going to be something that you can share with people. So don't be shy. Just like reach out and I'll help you out on that. And other than that, I think we don't have any more questions. And if anybody wants to reach out to you, where can they find you, Malorie?
You can go to my website, alwaysonbrand.co. You can reach me by email, hello@alwaysonbrand.co. I do have a special that I'm offering exclusively for webinar viewers for an ideal client package. So if you are interested in that, please feel free to shoot me an email and I can give you all of the details.
Fantastic. And I think all the details also included in your worksheet as well, right?
I did not include the details on the package. I just included the details. The link at the end is actually for another worksheet to help you plan your actual strategy for getting in front of your clients.
Gotcha. And I think I also see the email to reach you and then the website as well. So
yes, and I have a community if you're interested in that as well, where people can go and get some more marketing tips and just kind of support and network. So if you're interested, let me know as well. And anybody can private message me too.
Fantastic. Yeah, and you are also in the group, so reach out to her, everyone, if you kind of missed this or didn't get a chance to reach out to her directly. That will be awesome. And all right, I think that's pretty much it. Thank you, everyone, for watching. Have a wonderful weekend ahead. Yeah, thank you so much for coming in and share all these amazing, like, create your persona for your brand things. And I love your worksheet, by the way. And yeah, I think that's pretty much it. See you next time and hope you guys have a great weekend. Bye. Bye.